All wings report in.
Red 10 standing by.
Red 7 standing by.
Red 3 standing by.
Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
I have you now.
Hello everyone and welcome to the 585 Squadron podcast. I'm Nate, I fly Scum.
I'm Nick, I fly Imperials for now.
And I'm Pat, and I play Destiny. I fly Rebel.
Today we're going to definitely talk about Destiny a little bit, but this is a X-Wing podcast, so I swear we'll keep it on topic. But we definitely we had a lot to talk about for the most part. We went to a championship, store championship. We had good times. We are feeling Wave 11 in the most depth of our feels, and I'm looking on the horizon towards the future of X-Wing, and I have a lot to say about that. So we kind of have stuff that we want to words about today. I'm excited.
I like words.
I also words. Yeah, so we'll start off with the championship and eventually end up in Destiny, but we're gonna start at the championship. We went. It was just me and Pat, and we flew some good flights. I brought another one of Pat's lists, which what I've been doing with X-Wing recently, personally, is playing with lists and pushing buttons on a phone and thinking I know what I'm doing with the game. But then I will bring that list to Pat, and Pat will be like, no. And then he will hand me something that is glorious and mighty, and then I will take it to a tournament and do pretty well with it.
Yeah, I work from my house, so I have plenty of time to tweak list building and theory crafts. That's honestly one of my favorite parts of X-Wing. It's just like, what if I took this list that's popular and then made it slightly different?
Mm-hmm. So what I brought to the store championship was a Dengar Nim list. My original build was Iman with the fire spray with bomblet generator, and then Nim as like a distraction with other bombs, and it didn't work out well at all. I played it against Pat, and Iman got destroyed, disappeared. Doesn't matter if I could throw bombs everywhere, I can't actually fly the ship if it's dead. And then Nim is not hard to go up against when you're space ramming him. So yeah, that was fun. But then Pat handed me Dengar and said, do this, it's better. And I fly Dengar with Nim, and oh my god, it was glorious.
Yeah, it's really about both of those ships are really high priority targets, whereas with Iman, although he's a fun ship to fly, I can either take him down quick, or really I would take down Nim if I was going after the priority target, but then, Iman is a relatively easy target to hit.
Yes.
And with Dengar and Nim, it's like, which one do I go after first? And, if you go after one and don't kill it, and then it gets away and you have to, swivel around, all the while Nim and Dengar are both going to be bombing you and hitting you with their turrets, it's nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very fun to fly, absolutely, and I am finding more and more that I have no choice but to declare the Jumpmaster as my new favorite ship. Sorry, everyone. Sorry, Kuraz. Sorry, Sire Viper. I'll come back to you in 6 months, or 3 months, a month. When does the new thing come
out? They haven't said yet.
Oh.
Probably a couple months, I would say.
Okay, couple months on the horizon. I believe in you. My old chips. We'll be back. Pat, what did you fly?
So I took Dash Miranda,
of course,
mostly because a lot of the other stuff I've been flying is very casual. I won the Millennium Store Championship with Dash Miranda, so I didn't want to keep flying it. So I was trying out a little more casual lists. Even before the FAQ leak that Advanced Slam was going to be going away,
oh jeez,
I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen, so I've actually tweaked the list a little bit to make Dash a little more defensive, and then also to make Miranda less kind of advanced slam and more of a missile platform with bomblet generator there as a bonus, and also traded out Sabine for C-3PO, so that if I'm running, I can regen and C-3PO and evade, and it just makes me a little bit tanky. I was very afraid of Alpha Strike lists at the champ with cruise missiles, so
did you see any
I wanted to make me harder to hit.
Did you see any Alpha Strike lists there?
Yeah, the third game I played against Dengar Tell, the World's List, which is in the PS9 Alpha Strike, and that actually, my old Dash Miranda would have just kind of folded to that, but now with countermeasures on, I was able to kind of delay Dash dying, and I was able to trade Dash for Dengar, which in the past, Dengar or Dash probably would have died, and then both of his ships would have survived with some torpedoes to take on Miranda. So, trying to think of what else. No, that was the only Alpha Strike list I flew against on the day.
Nice. Good.
I felt the power from those countermeasures. I think I had one practice game over the last couple months, and it was against Pat. And those countermeasures made me go, How do you have 3 evades when I'm firing 5 shots at you and you're not taking any damage?
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts so bad.
That and C-3PO being on
yeah
20 goals. What?
C-3PO is one of those cards that when we first started playing the game, I remember Pat being like, no, I'm never getting that card. You have to buy an epic ship to get that card. That's so stupid. And then we got our hands on it and started playing with it, and it was on every ship. And then it just kind of disappeared for the longest time. So the fact that C-3PO was on Miranda, and usually Miranda's my first big smash target because I hate Miranda so much, then it died no less with C-3PO. Yeah.
Yep.
So I hate Miranda, as I mentioned, and one of the biggest reasons I hate Miranda is it's got TLT. And that's like, okay, I'm not really all that afraid of TLT anymore. It's just kind of a thing. It's not like if someone flies up to me and I know they have cruise missiles, I'm not like, ha 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 ha, and I have to like get out of the way. It's more like, TLT, it's inevitable, whatever, I'll just pretend it's not there. But I always, when I know a ship has TLT, I'll ram into them and fly into range 1. Every time with Miranda, when I fly into range 1, I'm like, it's fine, I'm safe, it's the donut. And she's like, nah, just kidding, 5 dice because I dropped the shield at range 1 behind me because I have 360 arc natively. No big deal, you put yourself in range 1, get wrecked. Ugh.
Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you what I flew. I flew a kayak at state.
Oh.
That's why at the Store Championship. It is a kayak.
What is it is summer, so it's really hard to like justify spending 7 to 10 hours at a tournament when it's beautiful outside and there's kayaking to be done. What upgrades did you attach to your kayak?
An oar, a life vest, and a camera.
Ah, traditional. I see you went the extra mile with the camera. That can be dangerous and very risky when playing.
Yeah. Yes, it was glorious.
Good. So I want to get into the leaked FAQ thing after we finish up with the Store Championship, so I'm just kind of going to run down my experience. I went to the Store Championship with the Dengar Nim. Nim had Bomblet Generator and not much else on him. Bomblet Generator and TLT, so that he's dangerous at all ranges, but for different reasons. And then my Dengar was like hardcore kitted out. I think K4 security drone with unhinged astromech, expertise, so he's always getting that shot. He was just nuts. And the first game I played was super quick. It's kind of nice with that list that if I'm facing a swarm, I go in with Nim first and just let him bomb. And if I'm facing a Dash Miranda or something like that, I'll go in first with Dengar. I didn't fight a single swarm, so the whole entire time I was just flying Dengar in first and foremost, and the other guys were fine. First game I played was pretty interesting. Dash Miranda-ish kind of list. I think it was Dash Miranda, but it was whatever. He flew Dash poorly, and it ended up in my favor, but it was mostly because of the dice. Like, it just ended poorly. My next game was pretty good. Oh, my overall record in the game was in the tournament was 3-1. When I was 3-1, I dropped, and the only game that really like stood out in my mind that I'm never gonna forget is the one game I lost, and it wasn't because I lost; it was how it went down. So it was basically a mirror match. He had the Jumpmaster 5000, the one that when it dies it resurrects itself for 1 HP. And Dengar, and I had Dengar and Nim. So it was a really interesting and weird matchup. He flew through my bombs without fearing a thing, and it was awful. Like, awful in the, oh my god, I'm so scared, how can you not be afraid of my bombs? I took out his Jumpmaster pretty quickly, and then he took out Nim with Dengar, because TLT plus Dengar is not a good thing. And after he took him down, it was a standoff, Dengar to Dengar, and we were at range 3. He had the range 1 plasma torpedoes. I had the range 2 to 3 plasma torpedoes. So I was at range 3. I kept him as range 3 as I could, fired the torpedoes, got him down to 2 HP. He, like, whipped around, and I chose the perfect maneuver to get myself in range 1 behind him, and I was ready to go. Everything was great, and then I fired and blanked out, and then he got good dice, or not blanked out. He dodged the dice. He fired with his ability he fired on his turn, and did tons of damage, bringing me down to like 2 HP or 3 to 4 HP through hull. And then I Dengar'd to fire back at him, and I was so caught up in the moment that I was like, okay, so when you fire Dengar on Dengar, you can fire Dengar against Dengar so that you can Dengar and Dengar. So essentially 4 shots going back and forth, and I immediately assumed like that's how it's going to go down. The last shot that I got on him, the retaliation shot, brought him down to 1 life. And then I was immediately like, oh, I fired at Dengar. He's going to get the opportunity to fire back. So I was like, go ahead and fire back. And he's like kind of confused. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. Like, it's Dengar. You just do your thing, and then we'll go into the next round or wrap it up there. And he rolled. He did enough damage to kill me, and then everything was fine. It was a great game. Just one of my favorite games I've ever flown. It was so much fun. When I'm up at the counter, after I reported my tournament results, after I'm explaining what happened to Pat, I realized that he could not have Dengar fired back at me because he was not facing me with his arc. I was chasing him because he would have fired his torpedoes. So I screwed up so hard, and I was like, oh, how do we correct this? We can't. So I just shook his hand, and I'm like, I'm not going to be a bad sport about this. Like, you're good. You officially won. No takesies backsies. But I just felt like so stupid for letting that happen. And then the age-old antic with card games and stuff. RTFC, read the fucking cards. So that was my experience with the tournament itself, for the most part.
Yeah, I had a good time as well. You know, Nick, you're talking about, you know, summer, and now that they've moved the
It was great.
store championship to the summer, like, I signed up for this store championship like 2 months ago,
Oh, yeah.
and then someone put a party in the afternoon, so I was gonna have to leave either way, so I could only play 3 games, unfortunately.
Right.
I went 1 and 2. Won the first game, surprisingly, against a Kanan Biggs, which normally is a bad matchup for a Dash Miranda.
Yep.
The second game, played against someone who I've played against several times, very nice guy. He was flying double YT-1300s, Millennium Falcons. One was Ray, and then one is just the PS3 generic. Built out very, very defensively with Jan Ors and C-3PO and the Evade title, this sort of thing. I think the highlight of the tournament was I finally got Miranda to fire her cruise missile, so she drops a shield. So she rolls 5 dice. She rolls... This is into one of the Falcons. She rolls 5 blanks. That's okay. I have a target lock. No big deal. I pick up my 5 dice. I re-roll them all. 5 more blanks.
Oh my god.
Yes, and it was, and like I had the difference between Bomb and Miranda, where you can kind of run her away and then just make them follow you with the TLT, and then the missile platform Miranda is that you really have to bring her in and point her towards kind of the melee. And so once she was there, she just started taking hits, and it went down very fast. So I ended up losing that game, but Dash did manage to kill one of the Falcons before he went down.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was one of those games where like everything went wrong. The first crit that Dash received was the one where when you go over an obstacle, you take a damage. So it turned off Dash's pilot ability.
Oh my god.
So everything in that game went wrong.
Yeah.
But it was still fun.
I saw that double Falcon list. I thought that was really cool. I didn't think you actually could do that, but I didn't know people were doing that. But sweet.
Yeah, yep. He played it also at the store kit that was last weekend that I attended as well. And I think he's going to retire them now. But yeah, it's a fun list.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I wanted to say it was kind of cool. The store championship that we went to, this particular store did not have enough of the standardized X-Wing mats. So we ended up playing on Guild Ball mats, I think, which are 3 feet by 3 feet, regulation size and all that. But it was like they're designed to be like a soccer field or a football field. So it was really funny flying these spaceships over a football field.
Yeah.
When I first started playing the game, I saw that play mat and I saw that it was 3 by 3 and I'm like, I want that. I want that so bad. Yeah. So is there anything else you wanted to go over about the store championship before we move on?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, both of us had store championship that we did not complete because we had other plans that day, and Nick completed with the most winning by kayaking. Yeah.
He got an ad workout.
Yeah. Looks like he disappeared for a second, so he'll be back later. But I wanted to move on to
Back.
Hey, welcome back. Did you hear my comment about kayaking?
No.
Okay, let us laugh heartily. Ha 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 ha. Good. No, I was just saying you were the most winningest of all of us by kayaking that day, because we had poor records and left the tournament early, so we both lost the tournament. But you won by getting an ab workout and kayaking.
See, what I did is I wore a life vest, and that gave me extra evade die in case the water wanted to drown me, and that's how I won.
Oh, good. Well, considering no other kayaks came up to you, I think you got like 5 buys in a row, so you just won the tournament by default. Yeah.
Until next time.
So, the next thing I wanted to talk about was something I didn't actually mention at the head because I forgot about it, but the FAQ leak. Jeez, Nick, have you seen the FAQ leak?
I tried to avoid it. I saw a little bit about it. It addressed a few things, but I do remember that Biggs was not on that list. Rebels still had the ability to just share damage whenever and wherever they go. And I see the Scum offensive powerhouse of, by the way, I'm guaranteeing 2 damage after I drop a bomb on you. And I went, oh, I get that.
Don't play Imperials?
Yep, that's about the size of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think the FAQ is going to be great for Imperials.
Yeah, me too.
I know that NIM is problematic, and we'll go into why when we get to Wave 11. But I think that the FAQ, there's a lot of, aside from NIM lists, there's a lot of lists that, like, say, Imperial Aces might do okay against. You're not going to be seeing a lot of Asajj Ventress who can just double stress them. You're not seeing a lot of stress bots. All the thermal detonators are being replaced by bomb generators.
Yeah.
And, PS10 NIM with the bomb generator and blast, auto blaster accuracy corrector combo is really the only thing that, like, post FAQ I would be like, oh man, that would scare me,
Yeah.
Right. Actually, that's a really good point. I remember bringing a Whisper and Rack to, I think, one of the store championships, and it was all fun and games until Asajj goes, hey, my mobile arc's on you. You can take a stress. You can't cloak. I was like, and my Whisper just, like, proceeded to blow up. So maybe I won't see that as much anymore.
Yeah. The thing about the FAQ that I'm really hopeful for is it was a leak, not an official document. So everything that was posted there is still subject to change, and there could be a lot more added to the FAQ on top of what we saw. So
yeah, absolutely. Like, I'll give an example. The advanced slam change, where you can't drop bombs now, or it has to be on your action bar. That's fine. It would stop trip K-Wings from being a thing. But that card is dead in the water. Like, you would never run that. You wouldn't even run it for 1 point. So I wonder whether there's other things that are changing. Like, maybe Advanced Slam is gonna be changed to a 0-point card, so you can kind of, take a target lock and set up for next turn or something like that. Because even for a point, I just can't imagine taking Advanced Slam anymore. It seems like, that you'd basically kill the card. You'd essentially ban it.
Right. And I mean, you're only going to be running it on ships that don't have missiles. So even if you have Slam on the K-Wing, you're stopping you're not going to run missiles on the K-Wing. You're going to run it a very specific way because of guidance chips. And like any illicit slots that are using the special Slam, it's not worth it to spend the burnout Slam points. It's essentially 3 points to get 1 Slam with an action, which is, it's okay. Yeah.
So I guess I haven't seen much of the FAQ. I didn't know about that.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that stood out for everyone, though, is the Jump Master change, because it's such a huge, like, print on card difference, removing all those icons.
Yeah. You can already see the certain things, like between the Jump Master and the new Korez title that's going to be coming out that reduces the points on anything. You can already see the result of that in a lot of the scum cards that are coming out. Like the Ion Discharge card that's come out in the Scum Aces pack.
Oh, yeah.
That is not great card for 2 points. It's way overcosted. But the reason it's overcosted is, A, if you put it on a Jump Master, it works fine, and it's a cheap ship, so it can pay the extra points for things.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was also cheap, it would make the Jump Master better. And B, everything you can put on a Kurez now that's for Scum, you can reduce by 1. So would you want a Kurez to take that for free? Probably not.
Yeah.
So I can see them like looking at the ships that are upcoming and thinking that they've kind of painted themselves into a corner, unless they make some sort of drastic changes to the Jump Master where you can't any good card that comes out for Scum, you can't just put it on 3 Jump Masters and have it be the best thing in Scum.
Yeah.
It's hard to design around that,
Yeah.
So when is the Epsilon getting a barrel roll?
It has one. It's called Expert Handling.
Yeah. That would be kind of sweet, though. I'd love to see the Epsilon do that. Speaking of which, Pat, you went to another local, like a monthly tournament thing, and what were you running? You were running Imperials, and there was something about your list that I loved with Baffle. Go.
Yeah. So like I said, I've been running a lot of like experimental lists, not necessarily like, oh, I'm going to run this, it's bad, I want to see whether it works, but I'm going to just experiment with different factions and ships I don't use very often, things like that. So I took what I call Kylo crits with a K, so it matches, and it's it's basically three ships that are on a budget. Normally all of these ships would be kitted out a little more expensively, but it's Darth Vader, and he's got Intensity, and then he's got the title, and then he's got Advanced Targeting Computer. He does not have engine upgrade, but being able to, boost and then focus evade is pretty handy on those turns where you know it's going to matter. I also took Backdraft with Fire Control System, Lightweight Frame, Veteran Instincts, and the Title. So both of those ships are 32 points.
Nice.
And then, and then they're kind of like budget aces almost. The third ship was Kylo Ren in the Upsilon shuttle, and he has a score to settle, which is a 0-point EPT, and then Electronic Baffle for a point, and that's it. So he was 35 points. And really, like I said, it's 3 budget ships that all deal out crits. And then you have, obviously, Kylo's effect that when you shoot at the Upsilon, he'll hand you that crit, and then you've got 3 ships that can deal that crit out to you immediately. So it's pretty dangerous, and the reason I wanted to try the list is I wanted to keep the Upsilon around because it's such a big target, especially with Electronic Baffle, because it can stop or one hard and then get rid of that stress with it for damage. And I did that several times where I one-hearted. I had a target lock from a previous turn. I took a focus, and then I got a range 1 shot. Target lock focused and rolled 5 hits and crits into people. So that's not great for my opponent when I'm able to do that. But if you do go after the Upsilon first, which most people are going to want to do, you are going to get Blinded Pilot, the PS0 crit. These are going to be happening to you because all 3 of the ships are going to throw a crit on you if you go after the Upsilon. And then if you don't go after the Upsilon, Darth Vader, his dice let me down a couple times, but you've got that focus evade with intensity if you need it, and with Backdraft, who's kind of the obvious target in this list, he still has 3 dice and a focus. So that's not too bad at all. But it's a really fun list. With the coordinate action on the Upsilon, you can actually give Darth Vader all 4 of his actions in 1 turn. So you can basically, when the Upsilon goes, give Darth Vader a barrel roll before he moves, almost like an advanced sensor barrel roll to change where he's going to end up, which I did several times to avoid blocks. He'll then get the focus from intensity or evade. Then after he moves, because now he's not bumping, he gets his 2 actions, which are focus, target lock. So now you've done a barrel roll, focus, evade, and target lock, all for no stress.
That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, and a lot of times, you're out of range, with your initial maneuver, but you can kind of barrel roll closer. You can barrel roll out of people trying to block you, and then end up in range 1 with a target lock, so you can turn on that crit machine. So it's really, it was a cool way the list works, and it opened up lots of possibilities. At one point, I barreled Darth Vader behind an asteroid to get an extra evade dice, and then the next turn, I just had Kylo barrel him out of the way of the asteroid, so he didn't go over it.
Yeah, am I correct in thinking that he could coordinate the intensity, get an evade, and then Vader could perform an evade action, so he could have 2 evade tokens?
Correct. Yep, you can have 2 evade or 2 focus tokens. Normally, with because he's PS9 and has the barrel roll, normally the goal is to minimize the shots that are coming down. So almost all the time I did intensity. I just ended up with a focus evade, just because there's normally that one ship. For example, VI Nim with a missile, right, where it's like I can only spend 1 evade token per attack, so I want to have focus evade just to try and maximize my chances of dodging. But if you're taking one attack that's not that strong, you could double focus, 1 for defense, 1 for offense, things like that.
But you can't spend both evade to add 2 evade die to it, the result?
No, so it was an FAQ a little while ago. You can only spend 1 token per attack. That includes focus tokens. So not that you would ever spend more than 1 focus token, but for example, if you had sensor cluster on a ship, you couldn't spend 1 focus token to turn all your focus to evades, and then spend another focus token to turn a blank to an evade. You can only spend 1 token. Same with evades. You can only add 1 evade, a result with the tokens.
So if you had calculation on a ship and you rolled 3 dice, and all 3 results were eyes, and you had 2 focus tokens, could you spend 1 focus token to make one of those a crit, and then another focus token to make the other 2 hits?
I don't believe so, but that'd probably be something we'd have to look up on the forums.
Okay. They might talk about it on the next FAQ. I doubt it. I really doubt it. It might actually be in there already, too. I don't know. I don't look at the FAQ.
It's probably clarified in there because I think the rule. I think you can't do that because I believe the current rule is you can only spend 1 token per attack. If that makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Cool. So looking forward, I think the FAQ is definitely going to change the game a lot, just like it did last time. But the Brave will continue using the FAQ'd stuff, and the not so faint of heart will drastically change to a new ship and use that, and hopefully it'll keep the balance going. Hopefully, I honestly don't like it, but I honestly think a X-Wing 2.0 is in the future. But on the note of new stuff, let's talk about how everyone hates Wave 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm personally not too broken up about Wave 11, but I've flown all of like 2 or 3 games since Wave 11 has come out, and I have not flown up against the Rebel stuff. 2 out of those 3 games, not inside the tournament, were with Nim, and then the rest of mine were with Nim. So I like Nim, but it's weird to bomb, and I think Bomb Generator is broken as fuck.
Yeah. So I was at the Store Kit Championship, the Store Kit tournament last weekend. There was a general agreement. Like, it was basically like 7 people were standing in a circle just talking about it, and literally everyone agreed immediately that you should not have included crits on the damage. That it should have just been 3 hits, so 3/8 chance, and then you don't deal face-up damage to an opponent. Because it's just another like I think what people are getting upset about Wave 11 is if you look at every single ship that's been released, there's the potential for negative play experiences.
Yep.
So like Aggressor, 4 TLTs, that's pretty self-explanatory. I've beaten TLTs that don't bother me. I've beat them plenty of times before, but it's not like I enjoy. Those are not the games I remember because they're not that enjoyable or interesting. With the Azatok and Selflessness, especially Lorik, he would be good as a Biggs replacement. So the fact that you can have Biggs and him and another ship would draw their fire and Captain Rex, it really that is the worst combination I've seen since Dengaroo. As an example, during the Store Championship, Nate, if you remember, there was a game where someone flying that list flew against someone else playing Trip Imperial Aces, and the game went to final salvo. They didn't fortress in the corner. They shot each other lots, and then they didn't kill anything.
That's boring.
Yeah. So I can't believe that they would release that ship and then not have plans to nerf Biggs. I'm wondering if maybe the person who leaked just didn't have access to the playtesting possibility for Biggs. Because it just seems silly. It just seems silly to me to allow that combination to go on.
Yeah.
Nim should be the most broken thing in the wave, but he isn't.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I really feel like FFG just it doesn't have enough resources to handle this game properly. There's plenty of people willing to playtest, and there's plenty of people who are making suggestions and stuff, but the actual playtesters, I feel like, are really, really short-handed. Because they made the last wave, in Wave 10 and Wave 9, they kept increasing the power of all these ships, and all these ships kept getting so much stronger and so many more dice, and so, like, a 5-dice chuck with a reroll and a focus never used to be a thing. Now it's not that hard to do. The game kept getting stronger and stronger, so to compensate, I feel like the pendulum just swung back the other way really hard, and now there's so many defensive things in the game that just slow everything down to a crawl. And, like, it's just not fun when you're just running around and nothing's happening. It was really fun when I was Finn and I flew up to someone and I went, rah, 5 dice, and then they just popped off the battlefield and be like, okay, well, let's go for a new game. But
yeah, and here's the thing, right? Like, that combination, like, I know it's gotten popular because I think Paul Heaver played it, but, like, it's not difficult if you're passionate about list building to come up with that list or something very similar to it. So they definitely play tested Lorik. They 100% did with Biggs, with Rex, with, whatever the 4 ship is, whether it's Jess Pava or a Stress Spot or Braylon Strom, whatever it is, they guaranteed play tested it. FFG clearly let it go through. So either they have seen that it's not a problem and that it's beatable, or there's another nerf coming. The nerf includes something for Biggs as well.
right.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, since Nick, your time is a little bit limited, do you want to dive in and talk about Wave 11 and your negative play experiences or positive play experiences with Wave 11?
Okay. Like I said, I've only played one. I kind of ran my old list. Basically, it was just research to see if I can still fly my old list, which was Colonel Vessery with the ion cannon. It was quick draw with push the limit and baffle, as well as Pat helped me change from pure Sabak to a Mega Leader, and I think I ran that against a pretty good list that Pat had. It was his new version of his Miranda Dash, and I was on an uphill battle crying. I would kind of poke with my 3 dice attacks that I could roll basically 5 times across the match. I had a real hard time trying to take down a Miranda with a C-3PO and a focus token. I was doing 1 or 2 damage, and if the game would have went on maybe an hour past time, Miranda still would have had full life.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, a problem for... I like your list a lot more with a Mega Leader in it. I think she gives more of a threat, and she's also more consistently target locked, so that's better for Vessery. I think your problem was flying, that I put countermeasures on Dash because I made the points, and also I put rigged cargo chute on Dash, and both of those things really wrecked your list because the first time Vessery was going to, double tap me with the tidy title and going to have a target lock because of a Mega Leader's target lock, I countermeasured that off, and then I was also able to double stress Omega Leader so that she was kind of out of the fight and not able to reacquire the target lock as well the next turn. So it was kind of like the way I had changed my list with the new Wave 11, and really the only card I'd inserted was cruise missiles. But because dropping the Advanced Slam and the Connor Nets and the Sabine and extra munitions gave me so much extra points to play with, I was able to really tech up Dash to kind of deal better with these kind of like aces that are going to try and get into range 1,
right.
And like put the target locks and murder me with their Alpha Strike, that sort of thing.
Right. It was also, you had Bomblet Generator on Miranda as well. And so I flew my list where it was basically spaced out. So if you wanted to slam in and drop the bomb, I'd hopefully. So, my diversity when I was trying to fly my ships, as well as target one ship, as well as chase everyone down with your defensive power, that kind of nullified my 3 or maybe 4 dice attacks. And that countermeasures basically blew me out of the water. I was looking to put my second ion token on dash with 2 chasers coming up from behind. An Omega Leader would have nullified, and that would have definitely brought you below half, and there's a slim chance it could have wiped you out if I rolled extremely well. But like I said, off that test, the idea that Bomblet Generator can scare my list so it's flying separately, and it's a jousting list, and then also the cruise missile could have done a lot more damage to Omega Leader if you were, I think, like 4 millimeters closer. It would have almost popped him. So Wave 11 almost kind of takes what my list was, and we have a little chat group on the side, and I'm constantly going, "Hey Pat, what does the internet say I should fly now? I don't have anything to fly."
No, Nate and I joked about, like, I just build lists for fun. Like, I'm not joking. I'm gonna build you a list that's like perfect for you once the FAQ drops, and I'm gonna train with you on it. I'm like, what's the guy who trains Rocky? You're Rocky. I'm the guy who trains Rocky.
Okay. In front of me, I might eat it rather than hit it, but
yeah. You're gonna cook me some steaks. That's definitely a fact. Yes.
Good trade.
As long as you can impersonate his voice, I will be happy.
Get him, Rocky. Yeah.
No, I think Wave 11, post FAQ, Imperial Aces, possibly with cruise missiles for an Alpha Strike. I think it's going to be a good squad.
All right, I'm in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really like how cruise missiles feel, only because the range 2 to 3, which I think they had to do. I give them mad props for what they did there, but the problem is, up joust me and then try to get me range 2 to 3. I'm going to do everything I can to get out of that range, which I think I'm flying well against the Wave 11. What it did is it monopolized my future moves, and I didn't have a good warm fuzzy feeling with my jousters kind of dancing all over the board and splitting their targets.
Yeah, well, people complain, like, we're talking about Wave 11 and people complaining, right? Cruise missiles is an example of where, like, it's definitely power creep, because it's 3 points, you can roll up to 5 dice, and you can keep your target locked.
Yep.
Like, if you get those off, you are doing tons of damage. But the fact that it's the speed of your maneuver means that it's very skill-based, which is, and player, if you're a good player, you have a better chance of, like, shooting this 5 dice missile off. If you're better measuring range, you're better at dodging arcs, or, kind of outguessing your opponent, outflying your opponent. These things will matter with cruise missiles. And I think that's why they did a great job designing that card, as opposed to Bomblet Generator, which is like, who asked for infinite bombs? I'm a Miranda player, and I still didn't ask for that.
I did.
Like, why?
Right.
I legit was so excited about Bomblet Generator being... I don't have to think about bombs. I can lay them unlimited, and I thought it was great. And I still think it's a great idea to be like... It's kind of like training wheels for people who really want to bomb, but the problem is that they're so strong, there's no reason to run any other bomb.
Right, and when I was flying them with the Miranda Dasher in the Store Championship, I was flying against a Dengartel list, and they all have the big base barrel roll, so it's not, and they're PS9, so it's not like I'm going to hit them, but I still used it for area denial. So I turned the other way, and I said, if you want to get into range 1 of me, you're going to get bombed. So it's good for area denial constantly, like, especially with Scum Nim. You can basically go, okay, I'm going to go 4-4 this turn, and if you're in range 1 of me after I've done that at PS10, you are probably taking 3 damage, possibly 4 damage. And you can do nothing about that. Literally nothing. So that's pretty, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, bombs have always had the strength of you touch them, you don't roll any defensive dice, so aces get wrecked, but it's just too much. Plus their range is insane. Like they just they cover a huge area.
Yeah, I agree. I will say, so we kind of touched on all of the Wave 11 ships. I do want to say I flew up against a NIM at the Store Kit tournament. I was 3-0, and the guy I flew against was also 3-0, and we know him pretty well. I've flown against him several times. Very nice guy and a very good player as well. So my Imperial Aces got wrecked by the PS10 NIM, as you would expect. But honestly, I think that once this settles down, I feel like every time there's a wave comes out, there's a bunch of things that people complain about, and then people just learn to beat those things. Like, say we will about, like, Mindlink and Jump Masters. Yes, they're very good. They're probably too good. But, like, people have adjusted and like, know how to beat them. And I really feel like after my game against the NIM list, I could point back to 3 different things that I could do differently that could give me a better chance to win the game. And that matters. Like you know, the fact that we're in kind of like a learning curve now, where like people just have to learn to beat this. It's not, you're not going to win every game against Scum Nim, because sometimes he's going to do exactly what I said, right? Roll up into range 1, drop a bomb on you, auto blaster you. If you had less than 4 life, you're probably just dead. And that sucks, and that is a negative play experience, and I don't like that. But not everyone's going to be flying NIMs at a tournament, so you don't necessarily have to tech against that. You can still bring a list you want to bring that's good against other things and have a good tournament, depending. So it's going to be a matter of people learning to fight against these ships, learning how to take on this rebel list, right? Adapting their gear to it, learning how to take on Scum Nim. So it's just going to take a little bit, but I think everything's going to be okay. It's not the end of the world.
It's kind of the same song and dance we hear every time a new wave comes out. There's always things people are freaking out about. I honestly feel like this one, though, I've seen so many more complaints than previously, and I feel like I've also said that every previous wave.
Yeah. No, but I think this is the worst wave in a while. Like, if I look back at, like, the other waves that we've been in the game, like, we joined basically Force Awakens. Just Force Awakens core set had just hit shelves, right, and we picked it up. So, you know, we've gone through, 3, 4, 5 waves now. And this feels like one of the worst ones, despite what I'm saying that, you know, everything's going to be okay. I think I pointed this out in a previous podcast, but it's worth stating again, and that is that FFG expected to have Episode 8 ships out right about now, because the movie was supposed to be out in the summer.
Yeah.
And because it got pushed back to December, that Wave 11 was supposed to be the Last Jedi ships. That's what was supposed to happen because of the advanced time when it comes to production, when it comes to like planning out the next wave of ships. So these 3 ships were not the original Wave 11 ships. I'm quite sure of that. They had a short run up for this wave where they had to like insert, these ships. It's probably also why it's only a 3-ship wave instead of, like we'll normally get like 3 or 4 ships and then, one faction will get 2 ships or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So people are complaining a lot, and they're saying, "Oh, then Scum Aces is going to make Scum even better, even with NIM." But I think that'll balance out once we get the FAQ, and then the movie comes out in 4 months. Once we get the Last Jedi ships, I'm willing to bet we're going to see some really awesome Imperial ships and some really awesome Rebel ships.
Oh, yeah.
And of course we'll get some Scum stuff, but it sounds to me from the movie that it's going to be very focused on kind of the, First Order and Resistance. So Scum might take a backseat at that point, and Rebel and Imperial will have their kind of day with all of the new fancy toys and things.
Right. You were talking about Wave 11, how this one's the worst. I do remember specifically when Wave 10 came out, and I built that list with the Upsilon and Lieutenant Colts, I believe.
Yeah.
And their ability, and that combo through that list it obviously filtered through, and it wasn't very competitive because of all the dice, or it was built for one niche, one idea.
Yeah.
But it was a groundbreaking, horrible feeling for you to be like, you're blinded pilot, you're blinded pilot, you're blinded pilot,
Yeah, exactly.
and
And
you cannot fire.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if that list was good, it would have like broken the X-Wing internet. And it's literally the Azatuk Biggs kind of combo is literally the Rebel version of that in Wave 11. That you played that against me, and you one of my you had one of my defenders that couldn't shoot.
Right,
Other-
Bester, I think.
Yeah, my other defender and my Palp Shuttle just killed the rest of your list.
Right, and that's
So-
why it's taking a full action for me to try to shut someone down that I need to stay within range 1 to 3. But it sounds like with this wave, this is a serious issue. This isn't like a niche kind of build that could filter through. This is like when a guy has reinforced and you have bigs and you can spread the damage, you're not sacrificing much in the way of strategy.
Right, and yeah, you don't have to be good to fly this list. If you can fly 4 ships within range 1 of each other, that's all you really need to do. Like I'm not trying to undersell it, but like the Azatuk Biggs list it's kind of like Dengaroo, right? Like someone who's been in the game for like a couple months could pick up Dengaroo and probably beat like half the lists that I would fly. And
Right.
that's not a good thing. You want to be able to have lists that the best list should require skill to play. You need to practice them. If you can just pick them up and get a couple of tips, and then beat like a large chunk of the meta, that's not great. That's not a great feeling. When people who like us who take this game seriously and want it to be competitive and fun, have to kind of deal with that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
it is not the end of the world though, and I feel like there's lots of podcasts. Like I know that I listen to, so like I said, when I work, I listen to the podcasts. Minoc, the Crates, even one of my favorites, Scum and Villainy. There's been a lot of naysaying lately, and there's a lot of reasons to be upset at the current state of the game, but it'll pass. It's like if you're not having fun, like do what we do. We're done with the competitive side of the game for a while, we'll go play the modes. We'll play Epic. We'll play our cage match custom mode. I'll play Heroes of the Uturi Cluster. Like this game can be fun if you're not practicing tournament lists as well.
Right.
Which, by the way, did we release the cage match info? I think there might be a few people that might want to join.
We haven't released it to the public yet, but it's
it's
on a public document.
Did we send it to Matt, the owner of Just Games? Because I know
Yes.
he had expressed interest in maybe doing kind of a casual X-Wing night with that included.
Yeah, I would very much like to do that.
Okay, because
That'd be
I'm
fun.
most interested in that. I want to practice, and I'm going to start doing my push-ups now, but when it comes down to it, I'd love to do a cage match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
Agreed.
great. Also, you do pull-ups, not push-ups. Makes it stronger for the punching muscles.
Wheelbarrows, push-ups, whatever I got it. You got to be in Siberia, right?
Yeah. I think on that note, I'm going to talk Nick out of the podcast and start talking about Destiny, because he hasn't played yet. Yeah? Nick, get out. That's what I'm trying to say.
If, with X-Wing, then yeah, I'll take a step out. I got to go to work anyways.
Yeah. I was trying to be not nice and kick, but you had to go to... Yep. Joke failed. Good. All right.
Pat, any more X-Wing stuff?
Bye, Nick.
Pat, any more X-Wing stuff?
No, I think I've said my piece. I could keep going because I could just ramble on this game for like 10 hours, but I'm not going to do that.
with you all, and I hope you find your destiny.
Ha 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 ha. Thanks, Nick.
Imperial's out.
I have you now.
So is this gonna be our like bonus like 5-minute like 5-10 minute Destiny segment?
Yeah,
like a little Easter egg at the end.
I don't want to go too nuts into it. I'm gonna play the intro or outro bumper, and then I'll cut to this. But yeah. So Destiny. Thank you, Pat. You got me started playing the game. I hate you.
Yeah.
My wallet hates
seriously,
you.
I didn't see you for like 3 days, and when I left you, you had the starter set, and then like when I saw you again, you had like a box, like an entire box of the game.
Yeah. You put a trading card game in front of me.
Yeah, no.
It has.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way back when we first started the podcast, I kept saying about how I came from Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic and all those trading card games, so that's where I got my knowledge of game, and so that's where it came from. And now that we start on Destiny, it stays there. But yeah, the game's really cool. I'm glad you introduced me to it. I've noticed there's a lot of crossover between X-Wing and Destiny players. Like, it's kind of like when people don't want to sit around for an hour to play X-Wing, they'll be like, hey, let's play this 20-minute card game, Destiny, with dice and cards and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But goddamn, is it expensive?
It is. So I split my set with a friend of mine as well, and someone actually at the store was nice enough to give us a set of like commons, so we don't have to like go. I didn't have to go buy a million packs. So I bought the starters, and I got about 10 booster packs, and I'm probably not gonna buy too much more of the game because the collectible element, like I very much underestimated the collectible element of the game. You really need to go fishing. Like you could spend $1,000 and not get the card you want, or 2 copies of the card, as the case may be sometimes. So that part of me immediately, when I kind of like sat down and realized that was a little frustrating. But we have enough cards and we have enough dice now where, so long as I'm not going to like tournaments, which I don't plan on going to too much, I'm not gonna feel like I just can't win because I didn't buy enough stuff. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. You could spend $1,000 and not get anything, not get what you're looking for, or whatever. I think that's interesting because I took the knowledge that I got from like you. It's not like a normal game where you can just walk up to the counter and be like, 1 please, and then be fine, and then be like, oh, I might be able to get more. Because of the randomness of the booster packs and whatnot, you kind of need to know the meta game of how do I purchase efficiently. And that's stuff that I've learned from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic and stuff. And basically like, oh, you buy a box, you're good. And then just play with what that, trade up and get one of each starter deck at least, and then you're usually good. But like, it's stupid that it's not good for new players to just walk up and be like, I want a booster pack because I want a booster pack, and then you can never get the shit you want and spend a lot of money. But like the game itself, when I found out in the game that you can have 2 copies of any one card, I was really happy. Because I'm used to other games where it's like 3 or 4 copies of a card. So you find a really rare, really nice card that is like $20-$30 or something ridiculous. And then it's like, oh shit, I need 4 of these. So that instantly becomes $120 for 1 card, or 4 of 1 card that you need for the deck to play. I hated that so much. But I'm now playing Destiny. I am seeing things like the Sith Holocron and the rocket launcher and a couple other things that are like $30-$40 easy by themselves, and then I've seen cards as high as like $60-$70. I'm like, come on, what it just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't mind spending a couple bucks to get the card I want. Like I wanted the Saj Ventress, So I could have bought like a bunch of boosters and tried to get 2 of her dice, or I could have done what I just did and just paid $2 for it, which is less than a booster.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what I did. So now, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mind doing that. So, like, if an individual card is a couple bucks and it comes with a dice, I mean, that's a deal for me. But, like you say, like paying like 40, 50 bucks for whatever the card is, Kylo Ren's lightsaber or Sith Holocron or whatever they are. Like, no, it's fine. I just won't play with those cards.
Yeah, and I really don't like that FFG doesn't. I think this is their first trading card game, or it's their first biggest one, and they don't really know the rules yet. So I've talked to a couple store owners now, and they are really excited about the fact that it's like, yeah, they're like trickling supplies in, so we don't have to worry about big overhead. But then on the flip side, since there's not a lot of material coming out, well, there's a variety, but there's not a good quantity of the materials. The rare cards are legitimately rare instead of just, oh, I have a label called rare, so it's worth more.
Right.
Which that just, like, that ups the prices like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, FFG normally does living card games, which, quite frankly, I prefer. And if I thought anyone would play it, I'd go get, like, you know, because I've got, like, Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings and things like that, where, like, you just buy a set, and it's just you get every card that everyone else has.
Yeah.
I prefer that business model, but, you know, I can completely understand them wanting to make tons and tons of money off of this business model.
Yeah, seriously. It's trading card games are just money making, 100%.
Yeah.
Ugh, God, it's so ridiculous. I didn't really have too much else I wanted to go into with Destiny. I just kind of wanted to mention, hey guys, we play Destiny now, so spam our inboxes with Destiny information, and that you want to play. And if you want to play, we'll play. So please play with me. I need people to play with. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, just that it's a fun casual game. It's not X-Wing. It's not like, I know that some people have actually left X-Wing for Destiny. I can't imagine, like, X-Wing is my baby, and
It's
just it's a side thing, you know. It's all right.
Yeah, it's. I mean, she dresses nice on the weekends, and we usually go have a good time. But I mean, I'm not gonna marry her.
Yeah. Like, I saw Destiny walking down the street in a pretty dress, but I'm also gonna go home and have dinner with my wife, which is X-Wing.
Yeah. I like this analogy.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I think that's everything for me. Everything for you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Alright. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We are a 5 of 5 Squadron podcast. Bye.
Bye.